Welcome, everyone. Welcome to FCC Foodies. I'm Barbara Camlett. Today, we're going to be making two things. One is a funny cake. And Kat had asked, was Kat here today? I don't see her. Oh, she is? Oh, okay. Oh, there she is. Okay. She had asked for something Amish, Pennsylvania Dutch, and funny cake is delicious. This is something I used to make when I was a little girl. And the reason they call it a funny cake is because it's almost like a shoe fly pie, and it might be hard to see here, but there is a layer of chocolate on the bottom and the cake portion on top, similar to a molasses crumb cake or a shoe fly pie, where you have the wet bottom of molasses and then a molasses cake on top. No molasses in this, it's chocolate and a vanilla cake. Now, it gets its name for funny cake because it has a layer of cake and a wet filling in a pie crust. And it's also, according to Amish history, the word funny comes from the cake and pie together, and also placing the chocolate on top, and as it bakes, it comes down to the bottom. In other words, when you do a shoe fly pie, you put the molasses on the bottom and the crumbs on the top, where this, you can do it reverse. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So I can pop that right. Pardon?
Can we see it? Can we see it? Whoops.
Oh, see it again?
No, can you see
it? Okay. Oh, there it is. Yes. Nicole made one last night. Ooh, that looks good. Now, Nicole, did you put your chocolate on top?
Yes.
You did, and it came through.
Yeah, and then it gives, here, wait, I'll try to, and then like it looks like that on top.
Yes. Now, I have, and I know a lot of people have made this. Now, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes when you put the chocolate on top, it'll go to the bottom. Sometimes it stays on the top. I don't know if it's the humidity or what, and it hasn't only just happened to me. So what I do is I put it on the bottom and the cake on top. But Nicole's did work, as you did see. All right, so we're going to start that. And I made the pie crust. The pie crust needs to set in the refrigerator for at least an hour. Now, I made this yesterday, wrapped it, made a disc out of it, wrapped it in saran wrap, and I took it out this morning so it would be nice to roll out right now. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the pie crust, and you have the recipe. Nicole, I will be sending you the recipes today, and which Nicole will send this out to everyone. It's a little, even though I took it out real early this morning, it's still cool. But rolling it out into a circle. And I'm using 8 or 9 inch pie, whatever you have. Now, this happens to be the pie plate. I guess you can call it an antique, because this is what I used to use when I was a little girl, baking it with my mom and my aunt.
Are you an antique?
But I'm not an antique. Ernie just asked, am I an antique? It's pretty bad when you have things that you used and we can consider them an antique, I guess. All right, so almost ready. Seems to be a little stiff and it's cracking, but once I get it into the pan, I will be able to put those together. All right, so let's see here. I fold it over. And you could also use a store-bought crust if you prefer to do that for something quick and easy. Like I said, you do want to let it warm up to room temperature so it doesn't crumble on you. Mine is a little chilled yet and doesn't want to be totally cooperative, but we'll make it work.
Does anybody else take their leftover crust and throw some brown sugar and cinnamon in it and roll it up and throw it in the oven?
That
That's like-
sounds good.
That's like, or in the wintertime, I'll put it out for the birds, but, or like yesterday, I put brown sugar and chocolate chips and rolled it up.
Oh, that sounds good.
Hmm. Yeah, and when, yesterday I didn't have time, so I didn't put my crust in the oven. I mean, in the refrigerator, I just rolled it out and did it. And it actually turned out fine. I was a little nervous, but it turned out fine. Matter of fact, it was probably the best pie crust I've ever made. So
Oh,
I'm
good.
wondering if,
It might be, yeah. I know I have to put it in if I'm blind baking it. That I must do because
it melts like,
it shrinks
Yeah.
down too much. I know even though I put the pie weights in and stuff like that, but I've done that also where, okay, can't wait that hour, maybe until I get the ingredients ready, 10 minutes or something. Yeah, it works fine.
Barb,
What?
do you ever roll your pie crust up on your rolling pin and roll it out on the
Yes.
I
Mm-hmm.
was wondering why you didn't do that.
Only because it was starting to crack.
Oh, okay.
And by folding it in half and lifting
Yeah,
it,
okay.
rather than trying to roll it and
Yeah.
lifting it and it break. Because see now, it worked. It's starting to warm up and from my
Yeah.
hands. So what I'm going to do now is just go around and just tuck my ends under. And these little pieces, I'm going to try what Nicole is suggesting. Also, if you have a little apricot jelly or raspberry jelly, smear that in and fold
Yeah.
them up. Yeah, here's a little extra. Just pressing this together, making sure it's even, and then I will flute it, crimp it, whatever we want to do. All right. And I really haven't had this in quite a long time for this particular recipe. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to take my two knuckles and my other knuckle and go around and just crimp it, try to make it a little bit nicer. And they do have forms that you can put over here, it crimps it, but it's just as easy doing it with your fingers. Okay, almost done, coming to the end. There we go. All right, so here is my crust and that's ready. I'm just going to place this out of the way so I don't knock it over. And I will put this over here. I'm going to roll it out later on, put a little cinnamon and sugar, and try that as the ovens are on. Okay, all right, so the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to make the chocolate layer and then just let that sit for us. Get the rolling pin out of the way. Okay, so the chocolate layer, okay, by the way, you have a recipe for pie crust on here. This is what you will get. Flour, butter, water, and salt. Very easy. Okay, so the chocolate layer is a half a cup of sugar, which I have here. I'm going to pour in here. 1/3 of a cup of cocoa, and I use Hershey's cocoa. I happen to like that the best. You can use there's other ones, the Dutch process. I like the flavor of Hershey, so I'm gonna just dump that in. Make sure you get all of the chocolate out. That's the most important part.
Barbara, can you use a sugar substitute?
Are you talking about like a Splenda or a stevia?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never worked with them. There are recipes for that.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not sure of. I don't know the equivalent, but you can try it. There has to be, a ratio of, 1/2 cup of sugar is equal to what in Splenda or stevia. I would, try it if you're used to your baking with that. Now, but if that's what you're used to using, that's fine. I know I cannot use any artificial sweetener. Neither can my daughter. It upsets my stomach and gives us a headache, and that's just our sensitivity. Okay, so I have cocoa in here, sugar. I have 1/3 of a cup of milk. And when I do use milk, unless it says it has to be whole milk, you can use like maybe, some whole milk and some, skim milk if you want. I'm going to use 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And my vanilla. I didn't get that out because it should be refrigerated. And I need a teaspoon of, where did I put mine? Right here, I did, right in front of me. I have it all laid out. My teaspoon of vanilla. All right, so now all I'm going to do is just whisk this up. And this is going to be the bottom of the pie.
Interesting, because the recipe I used, it called for boiling water and no milk.
Right. This, the recipes that until I actually found this old recipe, I did look it up online and they're calling for boiling water. And I'm thinking, no, I don't remember that. I remember using milk.
So, yeah, no, this was my Nana's recipe. So,
okay.
Yeah, I was like, interesting.
I went digging and I found it, and it wasn't too hard. I have it in a shoebox of old recipes. And I said, okay, I have the original one. So I will make that because I remember it being delicious. So that's the only thing different. This one's using milk, and Nicole's version used boiling water. If you look them up, they are similar. Everything is basically similar except for the milk. Okay, so I'm just going to set this aside. I don't need to do anything with this right now, so I'm going to put that over there. Now, for my cake mixture, I'm going to use butter, vanilla, sugar, egg, flour, baking powder, salt, and again, milk. Does that sound like what you use, Nicole?
The only difference is it used shortening versus butter.
Oh, okay.
Just like your pie crust, the pie crust was shortening and butter. Yeah, that's the only difference pretty much. But that shortening, that's an old school thing too, so.
Right. I used to do that too. I used to make it with a shortening, and then I had recipes with half and half, but I just with butter. So I'm going to start to just cream the butter a little bit. Making sure it's all mixed up and nice and fluffy. And I have my sugar. I'm going to pour a little in, mix that up. Now, I haven't tried it yet. I do have a stand mixer. And a lot of times when you're using a stand mixer, they always say cream your butter and then add your sugar. And then you are scraping down your butter from the sides, quite a bit. Now, I heard on a cooking show the other day, I haven't tried it. They said, put your sugar in first, then your butter, and it won't stick to the sides. So that's something I will try the next time I'm so used to creaming the butter, then adding the sugar. Okay, adding one more of the sugar or all of it. I was thinking if we need, someday taking an inventory of what is up at the FCC kitchen and then, packing a bag of, if we need a mixer or Cuisinart or, whatever, we would, just drag mine up and back. They're not that heavy. And if anyone had favorite knives that they like to use and stuff like that, that would be fine if they could always bring those. We'll make it work. We will make it work. All right, now I'm going to add the egg. And again, look at the nice brown big egg from Andrea's chickens. And they are delicious and such a beautiful, beautiful color and quite large. All right, so I'm going to add my egg, and I always put it into a cup first so I'm not digging out shells. And it gives the batter a nice golden color because as soon as I'm done mixing this, I will show you. I don't know if you could see it here, how yellow that egg is. I'm going to add now a teaspoon of vanilla. Mix that in. Okay, good. All right, now I have here a cup of flour. I'm going to add my salt. We want a teaspoon of baking powder, which I will dry off because I just used it for my vanilla. Okay, so I have my butter in here, I have my vanilla, my sugar, my egg. Here's my flour, baking powder, and salt. And then my milk, I'm going to alternate it with that. So I'm going to start with my flour. Usually for baking, they recommend start and end with the flour and then put your milk in. And that's all I need to do. And then we could assemble the pie. So I'm going to put a little bit in first and turn my mixer on slow so I don't get all full of flour. And giving a little bit of milk. Now I have seen some recipes before I found my old one that use melted butter. Mixing that. I'll add the rest of my milk and then I can end with my flour. of my flour. All right, making sure everything is incorporated. Okay. Push this out of the way. I am going to get a baking sheet just in case it decides it needs to run over. So I have my baking sheet. I have my pie filling. Now, I am going to do it the way that I have always done because I have not made this recipe in, I will tell you how many years, but I was home and I was a little girl. I'm going to put my filling in the bottom and the cake batter on top because I'm not sure if the difference is because of water or milk, but it turns out the same. And I have a recipe that was from an aunt of mine who was an excellent baker. It's a cherry cake and it's excellent during the summer. Cherries with vanilla cake and vanilla ice cream. Excellent for summer. And what she does is, and it happened to her too, you put the cake down and then you put the cherries on top. Sometimes they'd stay on top. Sometimes they would go to the bottom like they're supposed to. So I'm not going to take a chance right now. Okay. Boy, is that chocolate smelling good. Smells like the air of Hershey, Pennsylvania. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to spoon this on the top. I'm just being very careful. Now, some of it will, as it cooks, probably will peek up through
Yeah.
the white. But
It's very nice.
now see when we're together, if we, at the FCC, if we do our desserts first, get them in the oven, and then we can all partake in the dessert as well. May not be totally chilled, but okay.
Dessert's dessert.
Okay, so this is ready to go into the oven. Here is our funny cake. So it's going to go in at 350 for about 40 to 45 minutes. So I'm going to set the timer for 45 minutes or 40 minutes, check it and see if I need any more. So let me get this in the oven. Okay. All right, timer, 40 minutes, there we go. Good, good. Let me just move this stuff out of the way. Give me a second, and then we can do our next project. Okay, all cleaned up. All right, so that's the funny cake recipe, and Nicole will send that to you. The next thing we're going to do are flatbread pizzas. which are nice and easy for this time of the year. That's why I have chosen that. They're very versatile. You can keep the flatbread or naan in the freezer, okay? And this is what it looks like. 2 artesian flatbreads, they're already baked. You're gonna put them in the oven to crisp them up, or naan, which is a flatbread. It's a tandoora baked and hand stretched. They're just a egg shape. These are both are excellent. When I buy them, you can buy it the original, or I like the garlic. It gives the crust a little better flavor. So what I'm going to do, we're going to make two different types today, and these are endless, okay? Any topping you want, put them in, crisp them up a little bit, and then bring them out, and then decorate them, and then bake them again. And again, it doesn't take long. But what's nice about these is you can put your regular tomato sauce, mozzarella on. You could put vegetables, as we're going to do today. Your sauce, your diced up chicken pizza, just vegetables, anything you want. And you serve it for an appetizer, for a lunch, or out on since it's getting so warm out on the deck, nice and easy. So I'm going to take a baking sheet and let me put these on, and I'm going to put this into the oven just to crisp up a little bit. You could use them as is, but I like my dough a little bit crisper, so I'm going to put this in real quick. And then here is the naan bread. And you'll see this one they give you a recipe, roasted chicken and arugula. And they're making that as a panini, or just on top. Now you can see here that it is a shape of an egg. Isn't that cute? And I'm going to take 2, put this on the pan. And the garlic smell is very nice. And I'm going to put this in, again, just to crisp them up a little bit. They're already baked, warm them up, and crisp them. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is, you might have seen this, you might have had this. I had someone make it, and serve it. It's a cold one. It's not baked. Using a cream cheese base. Once you have your dough crisped up, which we are going to make the flatbread a little bit crisper because we're not going to stick it back into the oven. We are using a cream cheese base with this. Now, some people will take cream cheese and you use a package of ranch dressing. That's fine, whatever you want. It's using cream cheese, dill, garlic powder, a little bit of mayo, little pepper. And you mix that up and let it set. You can even use, if you wanted, some onion powder. Again, if you don't like dill, substitute something else. Everything is very versatile, changing. These are just ideas for you. And then the topping is going to be chopped up cucumber or an English cucumber, red peppers, olives, cherry tomatoes, and feta cheese. And once the flatbread comes out of the oven, we're going to let it cool for a few minutes and then spread the cream cheese on and spread the vegetables on top of it and the cheese, and then cut it with a knife. The second one we're going to do, and this is, I've made this many times. I love when the farmer's market comes to the area and they have all of the fresh vegetables. And again, use what you like, combine what you like, substitute, take out anything you want. This is called a sheet pan ratatouille. Very good. You cut up all your vegetables, you put it on your sheet pan, put it in the oven, forget about it until the timer goes off, and then you can store it in your refrigerator. It even freezes well. So when I made it, I had to make it yesterday because you didn't want to be here all afternoon. I used all of the different types of vegetables, and this is what I have. Roasted zucchini, peppers, onions, garlic, red peppers. What else did I say here? Mushrooms. Okay, everything is in here. So for this particular naan we're going to do is once it is warm enough and crisp enough, that I will take out, and we're going to put this on top. I'm going to sprinkle it with some mozzarella cheese and put it back in the oven. This you can serve hot or cold, but this one I like hot. Let me just check my oven real quick, seeing what's happening in here. A little more on that one. I'm going to flip them over so they crisp on both sides. So this is the ratatouille, but this is excellent to serve as a side dish or to serve with crackers. This recipe I got from some magazine. I don't know what it was, but what they're telling us to do with it is you can make the flatbread as we are going to do today, or put it a ratatouille grilled cheese sandwich, which looks excellent. Your nice artesian bread, grilled cheese, the vegetables, or put it over pasta, put it over raviolis, polenta, anything you want. That's why I like to go to the farmer's market, make sheet pans of this, put it in the refrigerator, freeze it. And I like to freeze it because, as I had mentioned before, my daughter is a vegetarian, and I always keep some raviolis or something in the refrigerator. Every once in a while, she stops down, so I have to think ahead, keeping some raviolis, take out the raviolis, take out the ratatouille, and we sprinkle with a little Parmesan cheese, and we have a nice supper if she's on her way down. So
Barbara,
yes.
this is Kat. When you roasted those, how did you season them?
I put on garlic, olive oil, okay, salt, pepper, and I put a little Italian seasonings on,
Okay.
oregano,
Yep.
Italian seasoning, whatever you like, but definitely you need a little, drizzle. I don't flood anything with the olive oil, but have them in the pan, sprinkle them. You have your crushed garlic, your salt and pepper, and then toss them with your hands, and then just roast them.
Okay.
Okay, and they usually take about 45 minutes. Mine took a little longer because I had two pans in. Halfway through, I rotated the pans and made sure everything was nice and tender. And the cherry tomatoes give it a nice little, moistness to it. So everything is in there. It's very, like I said, very healthy. It could be served as a side dish, cold with, crackers, or, as a dip on top of pasta, and grilled cheese sandwiches. I haven't tried that yet, but that is winking at me. And flatbread. Excellent thing to do, especially in the summer, and keep it around. And unfortunately, I don't think to do it as much in the winter, even though I will roast the vegetables. You could even put broccoli in here if you want. You could roast the broccoli, some cauliflower, whatever you happen to have. You know, I had 2 big sheet pans piled high, nothing else was going to fit on them. All right, so let me get this here. Put myself down the pan. All right, the other ones I flipped, I want them a little crisper. Now these I'm going to flip back. All right, now your pan is hot as you are working with it, so make sure you are careful. All right, so all I have to do, I happen to have garlic naan. The other thing that you could do if you want, which is very good, crush a little garlic in a little olive oil, take your basting brush and baste them with garlic and olive oil. Since these are already seasoned and flavored, I'm not going to do that. But if you have the plain ones, you can do that. Just a little, you're brushing it with a little garlic oil, and then you could put fresh sliced farmer market tomatoes, fresh mozzarella, and maybe a little chopped basil leaves if you want, and perfect, okay? You know, like a caprese flatbread. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just dig into my ratatouille here, place some on, and then spread it out. I always like to go as close to the edges as possible because I want filling with all of my bites of the crust. Now I will put this back in the oven to warm up the ratatouille and to crisp up the crust a little more. I don't have it in there that long just to start it because it's going to be heated back up. And be careful you don't lean your arm on your hot pan. Probably should lay this here so as it is as a reminder to me. You could use fresh mozzarella on the top if you want. Shredded mozzarella from the freezer. All right, how is that looking? And I happen to have mozzarella shredded in my freezer that I'm going to use. You can, after you put the cheese on top, you can, if you want, a little oregano, a little, you know, I didn't use hot pepper flakes in there, but if that's something you like, put that on. You know, one thing nice about the recipes that we're trying to do here is your imagination, you're endless with your imagination, use that as a basis and okay, all right, there we go. Our flatbread naan with the ratatouille topped with mozzarella, and we'll put that right back into the oven. Where's my other pot holder? Lost it somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm gonna put this here. Okay, I just took that out. It'll take 1 second, should be to cool it down. Let me get rid of the ratatouille, move that out of the way. Okay, here I have my feta, my raw vegetables cut up, which are zucchini, olives, tomatoes, cucumber. And here is my cream cheese mixture that we're going to put on. Okay, so let me get these over here. I crisp them nice on both sides. Because you want your flatbread nice and crisp. So you don't want it crunchy like a cracker because you want to be able to slice it through. But what you're going to do is, serve it cold. It's not going to go back into the refrigerator. Back into the oven. All right, so this is a little warm yet, so I'm going to hold off putting the cream cheese on so it doesn't melt. It'll be a second. Does anyone have any questions on anything that we have done so far?
Barbara,
Yes.
I kind of lost your picture. There you are.
Oh, okay, I'm here.
Sorry. When you are these something you can make ahead if you're going to serve it cold? Like, can you do it like a day before?
You can, but I wouldn't assemble them.
Okay.
Because they're going to get soggy. Like, for example, that's a very good question. The cream cheese mixture I made yesterday. All right.
Okay.
Because with the dill or whatever seasonings you put in, kind of permeates the cream cheese. I think the flavors come out a lot better. And the same thing with my vegetables. I chopped them up so I would have everything. So sure, you could even crisp these up ahead of time so then they would cool better. Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with the ratatouille. I did that yesterday. And it's put that in the refrigerator. So yeah, you can, if you're going to have people out, like let's say for the 4th of July, and instead of, put your hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill. But if you wanted something different as an appetizer or a whole bunch of different types of, flatbreads or, pizzas, you could even, crisp these up on a grill. Just as long as that they're, it warms them up. It gets, I don't want to say the doughy taste because they're not, but, this is, a lot, crisper. Sure, you could do that. And, the one that's in the oven, that could go on a grill too. Just, you have to do it quick. You're just heating it up. All right, so now what I'm going to do here is just take the cream cheese and spread it on. I think I'd do better with a butter knife. Probably my offset spatula would be even better. Yeah, there we go. And by having the cream cheese set a little bit, you can have a nice smell of the herbs. We have garlic powder in here. I have dill, anything you want, anything that you like. Please feel free to substitute. Anything you don't like, just take out. Let's get a little more. We want to be able to taste our cream cheese and to hold our vegetables down. And again, I always like to go as close to the edge as I can, so you're getting goodness in every bite, every bite. All right, looking good, looking good. All right. Now make sure your vegetables are all tossed. Your fresh vegetables. You could even chop up broccoli nice and fine.
I bet spinach would be good too.
Yes. You can put some raw spinach on it. And sometimes whatever they have nice when you go to the farmer's market or whatever is in, the grocery store. Like I had to go crazy looking for an eggplant for the ratatouille. I don't know why. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put that on, and then you're going to top it with feta. If you don't like feta, use something else. All right, so I think that's loaded quite nicely. And there's the feta cheese. Now, one thing also, as I'm doing this, it reminded me, hummus. If you like to make hummus or even guacamole, you could substitute instead of the cream cheese, put hummus down, put your vegetables on top and put your feta on. I make a appetizer. That's what this reminded me of. That's why I'm mentioning it. I take a nice round dish. I put the hummus in there and I have all the chopped up vegetables and I put that on top with feta and serve it with pita bread. And it makes an excellent appetizer. So now I take my trusty pizza cutter and I'm just going to cut it into squares. And as large or as small as you want, depending on, is it a dinner? Is it an appetizer? What do you want? And you can leave it on your cutting board or put it on a nice serving platter.
I wish we were in person so we could taste it.
You don't know how much I wish we were in person. And this is something, again, is easy to make. If you have a grill outside, you can crisp up your flatbread or naan, and here's your pieces with nice vegetables. And you're not really doing a lot of oven work. So let me check what the other one looks like. Okay, here we go. I'm going to move this out of the way. Just place this over here. I'm going to decorate that one as well. And does that smell good? Look at that. All right, when it comes out, I just want to cool it a second. Make sure you loosen up around the edges because your cheese will, that dripped off will stick and then you can't get it off. And here is your ratatouille, nice hot ratatouille. There we go. Okay, this I'll put over here, and I am going to be fixing that.
So we're
And
gonna be at
again-
Ice Lake at 4 o'clock for a fundraising committee. That stuff would be lovely for appetizers.
There you go, there you go. I think that was a hint. Oh, that's nice to take it out there. The pavilion's open and everything.
Yes, yep.
All right. So flatbread, excellent and very versatile. Your imagination. I was even thinking to do one with just sauce because I have some sauce in there, and mozzarella cheese, little meatballs, sausage, anything you want. Again, great. Put them in. I buy them ahead of time, but in the freezer. These I got from Aldi's because I like the square. But if anyone goes to Trader Joe's, their flatbread is excellent. When I go, I buy them, put them in the freezer, pull them out, crisp them up, and make whatever we want. And it's quick, easy flatbread pizzas. It's great to make the dough, but sometimes you just need something quick, and it makes a nice, great luncheon. So maybe for the 4th of July or Memorial Day or whatever, or a picnic you have, maybe a variety of flatbreads. Let me just say real quick what I did one time for lunch. It was a couple of years ago for the 4th of July when we all got together. And we had lunch and dinner. Usually when the family gets together, we have both. So for lunch, what I did is I had created, the homemade pizza dough, and I have little pizza pans, and I wound up making individual pizzas. And I put all the toppings on the counter, handed them the plate with the pizza, the small little pizza, let them decorate it. I was out on the grill, put it on the grill, heated everything through because the dough was cooked, and that's what we had. So everybody was happy that they build your own pizza. You could build your own flatbread, especially with these naans. I don't want to say they're individual. I can't eat a whole one. Ernie eats it, and the rest piece of mine that I can't finish. But if you're a big eater, or is this the only thing that you're really eating, you probably could, or cut them in half. Let them, serve a couple. The same thing with these things. Let me get this. You could probably cut these in thirds, or even cut them in half and use them instead of making the dough. But that's all the different types of suggestions that you can do. These things are great. Okay, so if there's no questions, thanks for attending, and I hope it gave you some ideas how to make some stuff for your picnics outside. And I'm going to walk over here and let me tell you what is happening with the pie. It's not done yet, but the cake portion has raised up to the top of the crust. So it is coming up, and I am looking forward to that. All right. Thank you, ladies. And